Mitesh, the thing we're seeing these days is AI. Our clients love AI. Everybody loves AI.
Yeah.
But our clients seem to be wanting to use it for everything. What are you seeing in the practice?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I mean, it's not going anywhere. I mean, we're seeing AI. I think more and more on a weekly basis, we're seeing more clients submit stuff to us going, well, can I use this? I created this. What do you think? And I mean, I do think that AI has got its place, and it definitely can be used in business and I think in legal in certain ways too. Like, I think the positive things that I've seen, and granted, a lot of this is coming from our clients, stuff that they're generating, but like general brainstorming, that seems to be a great use of AI. They've got an idea, they've got a partnership concept or this or that they're trying to build out. And I think in helping them build out those ideas, I think it's great for that. I also think there, a couple of other things is that creation of rough drafts. Like if they know they've got a document that they want to create, I think it's great for rough drafts, great for kind of collecting data points, that sort of thing. I think too, like just general research, most of these AI search engines are pretty phenomenal on that. Now, I think the flip side of that, which kind of segues a little bit into some of the negatives that we've really been seeing, is that sometimes this info that they'll submit on these rough drafts or whatever, they're just flat out wrong. And that's something that, and that's still fairly consistent. I mean, I would say that out of the things that I get on my desk, I don't know what you've seen, but easily 30% is just flat out incorrect.
And what kind of documents are these? Operating agreements, purchase and sale agreements, leases? What are you seeing clients are using it for?
Yeah, you named the top three. Okay. Just by chance. Those are actually, operating agreements, partnership agreements, ton of those. And what we find is that, these search engines and AI engines are pulling from what's out there. And so, unless the inputs are really, really drilled in, the outputs aren't going to be spot on. And so that's also what we see, right? Is you have lay people, not attorneys, doing the inputs. And so the outputs that are coming out, they're just not, there's no context behind them, right? They don't know about the client's business, the industry, the risk tolerances, the subtleties of maybe their market, of their state. All of those, it just cannot right at this point pull in those things. So the outputs end up being just far too generic, I think.
Are you saying that if we get one of those documents from a client, can we redline it for them, or is it just, I hate to say, not worth the piece of paper it's written on?
So most that I've seen thus far, they're not worth the paper they're written on. But I do think, again, kind of like I mentioned earlier, it's great for creating a client first draft, and it definitely saves some time because we can see through those documents a little bit about how they're thinking, some of the points that they want to include, but also, like I mentioned, the incorrect or outdated information. Sometimes it'll just pull in something really oddball and the client doesn't even know it's there, right? And we raise it, we're like, do you really want this? And they're like, whoa, how did that get in there? And you're like, well, it's AI, It creates that false sense of security. I'd say that's kind of my third biggest negative point on it, right? Is that not only is it incorrect and outdated, there's no context behind it, but folks are really hot on it. And I get it. It's notably cheaper, right, than getting your CPA or your attorney or something like that to do it. But I think that's one of the biggest issues there is just, it just gives them so much confidence that I do wonder, like, how many folks are just creating these things on their own and just not even telling us. Thankfully,
that's scary.
Thankfully, we've got good clients that are saying, "Hey, can you look this over?"
Sure.
But I mean, how many just flat out incorrect contracts are now getting circulated out there, in the business world?
So if we're giving clients advice on how to use AI, it sounds like, we want to be telling them, hey, use AI to brainstorm, give you some good ideas, give you some good provisions for an operating agreement, a lease, something like that. But bring those to us and we'll use our expertise to put together the documents. Is that a good advice?
That's it. And that's going to sound very self-serving. And I do think there's going to be a place and point in time where these engines catch up with reality and with some of the more elementary things that we're doing and more elementary advice that we're giving. I think it's absolutely gonna, it's gonna get so much better. but not right now. That's
Not there yet.
No, we're not there yet. So the other thing that's just kind of a little side point is I've heard of this. I haven't seen any of our clients do this, but if you're uploading confidential information or unique ideas, or, oh, I've got this great idea for a product or a service or whatever, unless you're putting it into the right AI engine, you've got to be careful, because all that stuff goes straight up into the cloud, gets disseminated across, and suddenly what you think is confidential, it's not confidential anymore, right? It can get regurgitated by somebody else that's got something that might be similar, So
Yeah.
I think folks have to be very careful.
And even beyond ideas and things like that getting put into the ether and not being confidential anymore, are privileged communications. If we're putting in, if an attorney's using ChatGPT, we shouldn't be putting anything that's remotely attorney-client privileged in there.
Absolutely not. So I would imagine it's happening out there, and I think to be determined how bad that's going to play out, maybe for some professionals and some clients. But yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's a little bit of the Wild West still. It's open. It's public. I mean, you got to be careful for sure. So yeah, I agree with what you said. It's a great tool. I think clients should keep using it, but use it as a kind of secondary tool or a beginning tool for that brainstorming and ideas and research, etc. But if you care about what you're doing, run it by your professionals before you put it out there.
Makes sense. Good advice.
Yeah.